Hello, everyone. Happy Monday, and welcome back to Big Discussions 76 Science and Technology. I've recently been occupying the Friday lunchtime time slot. I had some more time today, so I am back with a Monday lunchtime live stream. I'm going to click on the link on the YouTube side to make sure everything is streaming properly over there. Give me a moment. Yep, there's the red line, or should I say the red icon. I don't have AdSense over here right now. Okay. So, yeah, whoever is here, please shout yourself out in the chat. Let me know what you think. I have a short piece that I'm going to go over involving Elon Musk and Twitter. So we're going to hop over into the technology sector today. And I'm going to tell you after I play the music in the intro why I'm interested in this. So if you haven't, please hit that like button. I don't have a super chat over here or AdSense. So if you want to donate something during the stream or afterwards, my Cash App and PayPal are here. I hope you all are having a good Monday so far. I am in North Central New York visiting my pops. He always says that he does not and would not like to have any kind of work done on him or his car on a Monday because people are coming because Monday is fresh off the weekend, so people aren't sharp. So that's just a funny fun fact about my family. I'm gonna play the intro and then I'll see you guys on the other side, and we'll talk about what's happening with Elon Musk and Twitter, but also what may be coming for social media in general in terms of regulation of the platforms and regulation of what people can and cannot say and what people should and should not be saying. What's going on, Professor Black Ops? Good to see you, man. Haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for stopping through. I will get this going after the intro. See you on the other side. All right. Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome back to Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. I just had a little thing there with my internet. I'm on a wireless signal here at my father's spot, and hopefully, you guys can see me. Um, StreamYard always recommends having a hard connection into your unit versus the wireless signal, but it worked out pretty well last night on my sports stream. So I think we'll be fine. Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about Elon Musk and Twitter and the regulation of social media platforms. Okay, so we're going to go over into the tech sector. Hey guys, I can't tell you anything about programming languages, zeros, ones, algorithms. I can't tell you anything about how those things work. I use them, and that's where my interest in this lies because there are a lot of people, and I'm particularly thinking about. And don't ask me how I know, but there are a lot of onlookers and world leaders and people at the top who are afraid and fearful of social media, particularly uh, platforms like Twitter, where just the hit of a button, a retweet, can share mass amounts of information to mass amounts of people. And then the question is, if you share that mass if you share that information, if it's something harmful, if it's some sort of misinformation or fake news, and it's going out to millions and millions and millions of people, what's the potential harm there? What's the potential harm of sharing an article that you haven't read? What's the harm in getting a message out that doesn't go with the narrative that's being taught or being preached to everyone. So I'm saying this to say that there are people in high positions who are looking at the social media platforms and they're trying to figure out how to regulate these things and they're trying to figure out how to control messaging and control how quickly information can be disseminated to the masses. Now, depending upon what it is, yes, it can be particularly harmful to um, different groups, depending upon what's being shared. However, there's also the sentiment that cannot, the human brain is not designed to consume the mass amounts of information that are shared on social media and on these platforms. So that's where my interest comes from on this topic. I use Twitter. I try to use it more responsibly now to share my content, but if used in the wrong way, it can be harmful, and people are on there fighting every day. People are on Twitter arguing every day, whether you're thinking about someone like Roland Martin, whether you're thinking about the climate crisis, whether you're thinking about um, uh, daily tweets that President Biden tweets out about what his administration is doing and how much good it's doing. Everywhere you look, you see people arguing and taking runs at each other and cutting each other down. And even if you think back to the historic 2020 presidential uh, campaign, we know that certain information was suppressed. And we know that, well, if you're on Twitter, you know that at some point you used to be able to retweet an article just retweet it. But now, uh, after that, during that 2020 presidential campaign, and afterwards, Twitter installed a component where when you go to retweet something, it says, "Do you want to read this first? Do you want to read this first and make sure you're not spreading misinformation? Do you want to read this first and make sure you're not spreading something harmful?" So there have been a lot of changes in this platform, in particular, in large part due to the power of the retweet. So Kyrie Irving can attest to that. The dangers to retweeting things. I think Kanye West can attest to that. And people assume, and I did two uploads, two streams over on my original channel. People assume that because you retweet something, you support what you retweeted. And I argue that that's not always the case. And someone pointed this out, that this is why under a lot of people's bios, I didn't realize this until someone pointed it out. That's why on a lot of people's bios they put retweets are not endorsements. So okay, let me jump into this because I have a limited amount of time. All let me know what you think in the chat regarding this topic. Are you on platforms like Twitter? Um, Someone over on my original channel said she's only on Instagram and YouTube, but are you on Twitter? Have you heard rumors about government entities, not just the United States, but in Europe, really, really cracking down on how information is spread and the amount of information is spread? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you care about this? Does this concern you at all? Okay, so I have an article here. It's not a long one. I'm going to read it and then I'm going to wrap this up unless uh, there are compelling comments there in the chat. Okay, give me a second here. I don't have my desk. I don't have the desk that I have back in Northern Virginia, so I'm trying not to wobble the table. Okay, here it is. And I see these articles daily when I log on to Microsoft Edge. I use two browsers, Microsoft Edge and Chrome, and I get these articles daily. Let's see. Professor Black Ops says, "I'm not on Twitter. It's too toxic. I'm 55 and too old to be getting dragged on Twitter." Yeah, Professor Black Ops, that's interesting. You should say that because I think um, there was a point at which I would get involved in some discussions. And I think that's one of the things, if you're a layperson, shoot, and even if you're a celebrity, you have to learn how to not get involved and not respond to people. Someone says something really, really mean to me. Um, you see some bizarre things on Twitter as well. And a major key, I think, is maybe just looking but not responding and not getting enmeshed and entangled with some of the other people on there, because people want to argue, people want to yeah take verbal shots at you, and some very nasty things can be said on Twitter. So you just got to be careful engaging with people. Um, Chaos Rain says, if they're telling the user caution on what you're posting, it's telling you they don't want to think. It's telling you they don't want you to think when reading the information, Dr. Dunbar. Okay. So this reads as follows. And so most of you know, and if you don't know, it was highly controversial when Elon Musk purchased Twitter, because at least he verbalized that he wanted to make it more of a democratic platform where free speech was allowed. And they seem under Jack Dorsey and the previous governing body of Twitter, they seemed to have gotten away from free speech, and they very, very tightly regulated the things that were said and shared on the platform. I believe you got Professor Black Ops. You're a tech guy. They enabled a lot of bots that could suppress things, and they had adjusted their algorithms to suppress certain things. And so it's very interesting because because you had people who liked it that way, and then you had people who didn't necessarily like that someone like Elon Musk would come and open it back up to allow the former president back on and to allow someone like Dr. Jordan Peterson back on. And a lot of, particularly celebrities, said, well, now that Elon Musk has taken over, I'm leaving Twitter. So it was a very, very interesting series of events. Let's see. Professor Black Ops says myths slash disinformation are used in cyber warfare. Your privacy laws are super restrictive. Yes, I heard that. I heard that it's hard to um, retweet and reshare something. They've made it a little more arduous and cumbersome over there. Kareen says, welcome, Kareen. It's good to see you again. There's no free speech, but the way Twitter was censoring people and getting rid of people's accounts because of their political affiliations is messed up. Or maybe it was messed up because I think it's supposed to be different now. Okay, let me jump in. But censorship isn't unique to Twitter. I mean, people. I've never been in Facebook jail. I know a lot of people who have been put into Facebook jail. So all the platforms, or most of the, and YouTube. If you're not careful, I've experienced your videos will get taken down and your channels will get removed, and people can flag your channels down. So it seems that every platform has some form of regulation and consequence depending upon who's in charge and what was said. Okay. Could Elon Musk and Twitter be heading for a clash with Europe's red lines? Okay. Elon Musk's decision, now this is recent news. Elon Musk's decision to suspend several high profile journalists from Twitter drew condemnation, not just in the United States, but further afield, where backlash to the move in Europe highlighted what could be an impending showdown with the billionaire. There's Elon there. People were speculating that with the people that he fired, the platform would eventually shut down because there weren't people to run it, but it's still running. So leaders on the continent lined up to criticize the move Friday, adding to domestic pressure on Twitter's new owner and signaling that his efforts to remake the social media platform may leave him on course for a clash with Europe's tough new rules targeting big tech. Okay. Musk reinstated uh, the suspended journalists early Saturday after a Twitter poll, but he already had drawn rebukes from the European Union and United Nations. Media freedom is not a toy, said UN Global Communications lead Melissa Fleming in a tweet Friday, adding that she was deeply disturbed by the suspension of journalists from the site. Germany's foreign ministry tweeted that press freedom cannot be switched on and off on a whim, while French Minister of Industry Roland Lescure tweeted on Friday morning that he would suspend his account in protest until further notice. His account remains active, but no tweets have been made since. That's interesting because there it looks like there's basically arguments for some people being allowed to participate while others being banned. So it all, I guess it's in the eye of the beholder. This person should be allowed to speak. This person should not be allowed to speak. Where do you draw the line? I don't know. Please hit that like button if you haven't. Okay. Red lines. Okay, this is a new vocabulary word that I'm learning from this article. I skimmed it before doing the stream. And you all should keep an eye on this because we might eventually have something here in the United States similar. Because again, people are afraid and a bit irate in terms of the internet and in terms of social media. You know, can humans handle social media and the mass amounts of information shared on social media? And should we have the popular? I'm sorry. Should we have the potential and the ability and the power to share whatever we see fit to share? So, what are red lines? Perhaps the most notable, however, um, perhaps most notable, however, was the reaction from senior officials at the European Union, the 27 nation bloc that is taking an increasingly robust stance on regulating the online space. The EU's Digital Services Act requires respect of media freedom and fundamental rights. This is reinforced under the hashtag Media Freedom Act, said European Commission Vice President Vera Jourova in a post on Twitter. There are red lines, she said, and sanctions soon. The Digital Services Act will introduce a sweeping set of rules designed to curb the power of tech companies and promote internet users' fundamental rights online. Coming into force in 2024, it will make platforms and search engines more accountable for illegal and harmful content online, including hate speech, scams, and disinformation. Okay. Platforms will notably have to ensure that their terms and conditions are clear, understandable, and transparent, and respect for media freedom uh, and respect media freedom. A spokesperson for Eurova told NBC News in an emailed statement. They cannot, excuse me, they cannot be arbitrary or discriminatory in their decisions. They added failure to comply in the case of very large online platforms and search engines would result in fines up to 6% of the company's global turnover, according to Eurova's office. Rogue platforms refusing to comply with important obligations and thereby endangering people's life and safety, it will be possible as a last resort to ask a court for a temporary suspension of their service after involving all relevant parties, they added. The broad remit ensured that Friday was not the first time Musk has drawn the ire of the EU over his management of Twitter. Following internal strife at the company in November, top EU official Thierry Breton warned Musk that to comply with the bloc's content moderation laws, Twitter will have to implement transparent user policies, significantly reinforce content moderation, and protect freedom of speech, tackle disinformation with resolve, and limit targeted advertising, according to a transcript of a conference call released by his office. Musk also came under fire from European regulators when the company attempted to replicate the no notice firing practices of his hardcore Twitter rebrand with mass layoffs at its European headquarters in Dublin. So to me, those look like two conflicting things: significantly reinforce content moderation. So we're going to moderate the content, but we're also going to protect freedom of speech. So there's a bit of a delicate dance there that they're asking Twitter to do. Okay, trust divine mercy. Trust divine mercy says the left can't handle social media. There are some angry people. Yeah, they're depending upon the topic. There are some angry people out there, and they will, yeah, they will throw a tantrum online if you don't agree with what they say. Professor Black Ops says U.S. already is doing digital redlining for loans. Okay, and then Trust Divine Mercy says red lines sound Marxist. Are they not hiding it anymore? Okay, let me wrap this up. But, but despite strong rhetoric, experts cautioned that the EU may struggle to enforce its laws and hold Musk to account on content moderation and freedom of expression as it was warning. All you have to do is look at the EU's approach to Hungary and Poland, where both countries are eroding democracy and liberal values. But any kind of enforcement can take years, said Joseph Downing, a senior lecturer in politics and international relations at Aston University's Center for Europe. Elon Musk and Twitter are nimble. He can wake up one morning and snap his fingers, and by 4 o'clock, the world's changed, he added. The EU can condemn it. They can look at laws and have a discussion and be months or years down the line. The European legal arsenal is not sufficient to oppose acts of arbitrary censorship, said Ricardo Gutierrez, General Secretary of the European Federation of Journalists. While platforms are pervasive in everyday life, the governance across the scale of their activities is incomplete and insufficient, he added. EU officials have also estimated they will add more than 100 full-time staff by 2024 to enforce the Digital Services Act and other new rules on digital competition. Member countries will also have to hire more people to police smaller platforms and coordinate with Brussels. But the legislation is designed more to ensure social media companies take harmful content down than petitioning to keep specific content up, even when that content comes from news services, according to Downing. The Digital Services Act is unprepared for this kind of problem because it's not designed for that, said Downing, speaking of Thursday suspensions of tech journalists. There was never a conception that journalists would be banned from Twitter because that's not what Twitter does, he added. Okay, that's the ending. So I'm going to scroll back here to the title. I'm going to see what other comments are there in the chat. But this fascinated me. Now, I think those journalists were suspended. I heard a report that Elon Musk thought that he was doxxed. So someone reported on his airplane or an airplane that his child was on flying away at a certain time. But I think that's what that came from, or that's at least what I heard in terms of why these people were banned. But I thought this was important because, well, we're dealing with technology here, but there may be more controls coming on YouTube and on Twitter. I don't know how much Facebook is being regulated, but we use these platforms every day. There's lots of information being shared. And at least on Twitter, No, people don't always think before they retweet things, and there's a lot of concern over the harm that these platforms do. They're fun as a business person, as a writer, as a blogger, as a YouTube content creator. I think Twitter is its value is tremendous, but there is some harm that it can also do. So, do you all have any thoughts on this, on any of this? I'll keep going. I'll keep going for a few minutes, and if not, then I'll just wrap up and get on with the other things that I have to do. And not everybody hangs out on every single platform. Some people hang out on a stream on Friday. Corrine, who's there in the chat, she said she doesn't really hang out on Twitter. She said she's mostly team Instagram and team YouTube. I spend um, time uh, some time on Facebook, though I'm very cautious about what I say over there nowadays, and I'm very cognizant of what I say over there nowadays because uh, there are specific populations on specific platforms, and not everybody can handle everything. People are used to seeing the world a certain way. People live in specific consciousnesses and specific realities. And if you present something that shatters the reality, then they uh, will come for you. So I don't share everything over on Facebook anymore. Trust Divine Mercy. You know what? You bring up a very, very good point. Trust Divine Mercy says the harm was censoring doctors. That's a good point. Let me go over to Twitter. Speaking of Twitter, let me log on to Twitter for a second. I want to share something. You guys keep, if you have more to say, keep sounding off there in the chat. I I consider myself an independent. I found the algorithm on one of my channels brought me Megan Kelly's um, podcast. It's a very good podcast. It is very good. She had a guest on there. Let me see if I can. He's an Indian doctor. I can't think of this guy's name right now. Let me see. I really want to show this gentleman because it gets to what Divine Trust Divine Mercy just said. Let me see if I can. Let's see. Following. There he is. It looks like Twitter. It catalogs your most recent followers. So I'm going to share this. And I just literally heard of this gentleman, and I'm from the science community. And there, no, it's not him. You Trust Divine Mercy says Dr. Vinay Prasad. It's not Dr. Vinay Prasad. And I would encourage you all to follow this gentleman. Dr. J. Bhattacharya. Dr. J. Bhattacharya. I would encourage, if you're on Twitter, I would follow this gentleman. He presented, um, according to them, that Megan Kelly podcast. He was on there talking to her. He was suppressed because he was kind of on the opposite side of Dr. Fauci, and he was saying things that conflicted with what the current administration wanted to communicate with the public. So Dr. J. Bhattacharya, and he seems for just watching that conversation, he seems like a totally reasonable guy. Seems like a smart guy. But I just did a stream on a Friday regarding the return of the mask mandates. Well, not everybody in the science community agreed with that. Not everybody in the science community agreed with locking everything down, but it's certainly striking when someone like this can be banned and censored. So that's why this is important. We had a respected healthcare professional here who wasn't going along with the general narrative that was being pushed, and the powers that be at Twitter at that time, they agreed to suppress him. And the other interesting thing, if you watch that Megyn Kelly podcast, there was Twitter was encouraged to do that from our political class. So there is crosstalk. Geez, I hope YouTube doesn't take this down. There is crosstalk between big tech and our political class, and that's part of the danger of this is that the political class they can influence what we on the ground level see and hear, especially if all they have to do is just pick up the phone and call big tech and say, "Hey, suppress that. We don't want this getting out. Don't allow these messages through." That seemed to happen in this case. So that's what I wanted to say about that. Uh, I am going to wrap this one up. I just wanted to come on and present this article. Chaos Rain. I don't know, Chaos Rain. You're in hot water. uh, what time is it? 12:39. No, Chaos. I better wrap up. I better wrap this up. Um, Everyone, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Um, please like, share, and subscribe. Professor Black Ops says, chaos. He says, great stream. Thank you, Professor Black Ops. Got to have you up again sometime soon. Uh, Professor Black Ops, do you know Dr. Patrick Dix? He's a automation guy. He was over on Erica Williams' channel. She uh, collaborates regularly with Erica. Well, yeah, he collaborates regularly with Erica. They collaborate. So he's an automation guy. I want to have him come over and talk to us about how automation is going to really, really change our world and our economy for everyone else. But thank you. He says, great stream, LOL. At Chaos Rain makes me nervous too, LOL. Yeah, Chaos. You had someone dedicated a whole live stream to you. I don't know what you said or what you did, but it was sufficient enough for someone to create a live stream and to wait for you to come and defend your position. So, yeah, I'm going to wrap this one up just to be on the safe side. Um, if you're watching on the playback and you want to make a donation to the channel, that information is here. My Cash App and PayPal. Um, please consider joining my newsletter. I just got another name for it uh, last night, I believe. The link is here, and it's in the comments section below. All you do, there's a 2-paragraph greeting. I'm sharing my screen here. There's a 2-paragraph greeting there, And below that, at the bottom, there's a subscription button. You just click that. This sign up form pops up. You just enter in your email address and you subscribe. And it's that simple. It's that easy. So I'm always looking for more names for this. So any addition is helpful, and it's very, very welcome on my end. Professor Black Ops says, I'm familiar with Dr. Dix, great automation guy. I love that subject. Okay, yeah, I'm trying to get him. I asked him if he could come on before Christmas. Everybody's busy right now, so it might have to be after Christmas or maybe even in the new year. But I'm very, very curious about what he has to say and share about automation, because that means a lot of people are going to be out of jobs. And we're living through a really, really dynamic time right now with a lot of change. And well, since he's there in the chat, with a lot of chaos, much of which people don't understand, and much of which the general public does not see coming. So we're living through, a very, very interesting time now with a lot of change and a lot of chaos. Yeah. So I'm going to wrap this up. Everyone, please like, share, and subscribe if you want to donate something to the channel. That information is below in the description box. The link to my newsletter is also in the description box. The link is also here in the chat. Stay safe out there, everyone. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Do your best, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.